Hello everybody, welcome to the next game in the 2015 Strat-O-Matic Demolition League. We are wrapping up the first games in Series 7. This is Series 7 matchup number 4, game number 94 in total. Replay date is May 3rd, 2015. The Seattle Mariners paying a visit to the Houston Astros. Mariners are 10-8, the Astros are 9-9. All right. If I can get back in the swing of things, I do want to put this over here so that I can make sure this thing shows up on camera. It's a couple, when I was doing the videos in the other room, it was, this little spot here was like a little dead zone that wasn't showing up. So hopefully that will show up that way. I got the orange and the white and the blue for the Astros as their home team. Get their own dice or their own colored dice. Look at the injury report for today's game, or going into today's game. Jed Lowry is going to miss 3 more games for the Astros, and Franklin Gutierrez is going to miss 4 more games for the Astros. Now, after Series 7 is over, there is an off day, so that will deduct one of their injury days to help them come back a little bit quicker. Starting pitchers for today's game. For the Astros, it'll be left-hander Dallas Keuchel. And for the Mariners, making his first start, James Paxton. He had 13 starts on the 2015 season, which means he will get 4 starts this year, and this is one of them. Now, with his limited duty, his injury factor is a 6.7. So if he rolls a 6.7, we have to check for injuries, so he's definitely susceptible to injuries. Dallas Keuchel is not. He's a 0, so he cannot be injured. All right, I think that's all the preliminaries. You see the starting lineups here for both teams, the benches, and the bullpens. Rest rolls, Bloomquist had to rest for Seattle. Correa had to rest for Houston. So that's why Correa is not in the starting lineup, and Gonzalez is at shortstop. So Correa and Bloomquist have to wait until the 7th to come in for substitution purposes. Anybody else can come in whenever they like. As far as I could tell from the previous game, all bullpen people are rested enough to be able to pitch. Nobody's worn out, so everyone is eligible to come in and pitch out of the bullpen, so both managers have the full load there. All right, so Dallas Keuchel, and we'll get his replay numbers for you. Dallas Keuchel on the replay. If I got this up on the computer, he is 1-2 with a 2.10 ERA, 30 innings pitched, 26 hits, 6 walks, 22 strikeouts, and 2 home runs allowed. So his ERA is only 2.10, but he's hasn't got the run support when he pitches that he would like, I'm sure. And leading things off for Seattle will be center fielder Austin Jackson. Jackson into the replay is hitting .258, no homers and 2 runs driven in 62 at-bats. So I'm going to stand up and roll this first at-bat where I can look through the phone to make sure that it's showing up on the dice tray and I'm not getting cut off anywhere. So let's give it a go. We've got a 4-11. So against the right-hander, Dallas Keuchel, 4-11 is a fly ball, left field X. Left fielder in this case is Colby Rasmus. He is a 3. 3 and a 15 should be good enough. We'll double check it. For outfielders, 3 and a 15 is a fly ball C. That's good enough. Had he been a 4, that would have been a base hit, but he was up to the task to make that play. So there's 1 away, and we'll put that in the computer to log that out. 1 down, and that brings up the right fielder Seth Smith. Whoops. So Seth Smith, right fielder, on the replay, he's hitting .297, 3 homers, 7 driven in 64 at bats. 5-5 against the lefty for Keuchel. That's a 1-5 home run chance. He does have normal power against lefties, so a 1-5, it's a home run. 6-20 is just a deep fly to right that Springer will catch at the track. And that's a 15, so it's a deep fly to right. Seth Smith didn't quite get all of it, and Springer hauls it in on the warning track. 2 up and 2 down, and that brings up Robinson Cano, second baseman. On the replay, Cano is hitting .284, 1 homer and 7 driven in 74 at-bats. 1-7 against the lefty, and that's a ground ball to second to end the inning. So Mariners go quietly, 1-2-3 in the top of the first. We go to the bottom of the first. It's the Mariners nothing and the Astros coming to bat. And James Paxton getting his first start of the season. So fresh off of the minors or injury rehab or whatever he was, where he wasn't pitching. So well, I'm not sure what the whole story is on that, but anyway, he has no replay stats obviously because this is his first start. But someone that does have replay stats is Jose Altuve, the leadoff man for Houston. He's hitting .299 with no homers and 10 runs driven in and 77 at bats. So it'll be Altuve, Gonzalez, and Springer. Against the lefty Paxton, 5-5 against the righty Altuve is a ground ball to first. And Mr. Morrison handles it unassisted for one away, and that brings up the switch hitting shortstop Marwin Gonzalez. Of course, he can play just about anywhere. He's rated for shortstop, first, second, and third, as well as left field. So all 4 infield positions plus left field. On the replay, Gonzalez is hitting .380 in 50 at bats, 3 homers and 6 driven in. So he's been quite the important cog in the Houston lineup. 6-2, Paxton against the switch hitter batting right. 6-2 is a home run chance, 1-16. Gonzalez against the lefty does have normal power. So 1-16, and Gonzalez will go deep for the 4th time this year. And he does. It is gone. Marwin Gonzalez, who was actually subbing for the rested Correa, hits his 4th homer of the year, and just like that, the Astros take a 1-0 lead, and that'll bring up right fielder George Springer. And on the replay, Springer is hitting .327, 2 homers, 6 driven in, and 55 at bats. Paxton has to regroup. That's a 5-9 for Paxton against a righty, and that's a fly to right, out number 2. As Seth Smith puts that away. 2 down, and that'll bring up the cleanup man, third baseman Luis Valbuena. And Valbuena on the replay is hitting .233, 2 homers and 5 driven in, and 60 at bats. 3-10 against the lefty. He's going to ground it. It's a C, so we're going to call it a 3-1 ground out. As Morrison flips to Paxton covering to end the inning, but the Astros break through on the home run from Marwin Gonzalez to take a 1-0 lead after 1. And Dallas Keuchel finally enjoying some run support. Will come back out for inning number 2. He's going to face the designated hitter Nelson Cruz. Cruz on the replay is hitting .250 in 68 at bats, 2 homers, 6 driven in. That's a 4-7 against a right-hander. That's a strikeout. So Keuchel gets the K on Cruz. Cruz is out of there, and here's third baseman Kyle Seager. Seager on the replay is hitting .210. He's been struggling. 4 homers, 11 driven in 62 at bats, but that .210 average is rather weak. Lefty on lefty, 1-6. He's going to ground it right back to Keuchel for an easy out number 2. That's the problem with Seattle. A lot of their better hitters are left-handed, so they get a disadvantage against the left-handed starter, but the right-handers they have, Ruggiano, Sucre, and Weeks, they're pretty bad hitters. So, and Bloomquist had to be rested, so they really are kind of in a bind. All right, so Logan Morrison hitting .348, a homer and 5 driven in 46 at-bats. That's a 4-9 against the lefty. That's a single to right field, so our first base hit of the game, or first base runner of the game, I should say, because Gonzalez was not a base runner. He made the out. So it's a base hit for Logan Morrison, and he will take his spot at first base as soon as I find his little marker. It's in here somewhere. There he is. Logan Morrison is the runner at first base. And that'll bring up Miller, the shortstop. And for Brad Miller, he is hitting .269, 2 homers, 8 driven in 52 at-bats. For Morrison, he is a C stealer. He will be held, but they're not going to try to steal or anything. 2-8. Oh, didn't bring Brad Miller's card up. That would help, wouldn't it? 2-8 for Brad Miller. It's a ground ball to second base, but it's a plus since Morrison's being held. That's going to turn into a base hit. So Morrison will motor to third. Because of that plus, he will motor to third base. And Miller with the base hit. But you had to hold him on because else you're going to give almost a free stolen base. So, you're pretty much going to hold guys unless they're really, really slow. So that's equivalent to a single 2 stars. Puts runners on the corners with 2 outs for the catcher, Mike Zunino. Zunino on the replay is hitting .030 in 33 at-bats, no homers and 1 driven in. But he's been having a rough time of it, to say the least. Miller, as a B stealer, is definitely going to be held. 1-11, that's a ground ball to short, and that's going to end the inning. We'll say he flips the short way to second base for the fielder's choice. 6-4, as Gonzalez flips to second baseman Altuve to retire the side. So Mariners leave 2 on and come away empty-handed. And we go to the bottom of the second, still 1-0. Favor of the Astros. Paxton back out. And he'll be facing the designated hitter, Evan Gattis. And Gattis on the replay is hitting only .197. 1 homer and 3 runs driven in and 61 at-bats. 3-7, and that's a ground ball to short, so easy play there for Miller. Tosses over to Morrison. 6-3, 1 away for left fielder Colby Rasmus. Colby Rasmus is hitting .079 in 38 at-bats, no homers or runs driven in. He's got a good card. He's just struggling early on, and he can hit lefties, no problem. 5-5, but not this time. It's a ground ball to second, and Cano puts it away as he flips over to Morrison for an easy 4-3 ground out. 2 up and 2 down. Much better inning so far for Paxton. Here comes first baseman Chris Carter. And Carter, on the replay, is hitting only a .149. No homers, 3 driven in, 47 at-bats. 3-6 against the lefty. Struck him out. So Paxton, a much better outing here in the second, as he retires the Astros in order. And at the end of 2, it's still 1-0 Houston. And we start the top of the third. Number 9 hitter in the order for Seattle, Dustin Ackley, the left fielder. Ackley hitting .346 in 26 at-bats, no homers and 1 driven in. That's a 5-11, and that's a fly ball right field X. We're looking at Springer. Springer is a 2. 2-19, he will make the play. So fly out to Springer. 1 away. Ackley is retired. And that will flip the order over to Austin Jackson. Jackson is first time up, flew to left. 1-8, and he's going to ground it right back to Keuchel for out number 2. Easy play for Mr. Keuchel. 2 up and 2 down, and that's going to bring up Seth Smith. Smith flew to right his first chance. 1-9 for Smith, and he's going to strike out to end the inning. So Keuchel, no problem disposing of the Mariners here in the third inning. We go to the bottom of the third, still 1-0. And it'll be switch hitting catcher Hank Conger to lead off the bottom of the third for the Astros. Hank Conger on the replay is hitting .458 in just 24 at-bats. So when he gets his opportunity, he doesn't miss it very often. So he's in there against the lefty, and they're going to rest Jason Castro, or give Castro, at least the early part of the day off. Although Conger's not as good defensively, you can see he's a +4 arm and all that good stuff. But which is another reason why they had to hold the runners on. But when you're hitting .458, you got to have him in there. In just 24 at-bats, he's got a homer and 2 runs driven in. So here's Conger. 4-8, and this time he grounds it to third. So Seager flips over to Morrison, out number 1, and they retire the hot-hitting catcher Conger, out number 1. And here's the center fielder, Jake Marisnick. And Marisnik is only hitting a .190 in 42 at bats, but he's so good defensively, you kind of want him in there. No homers or runs driven in, especially against a lefty pitcher. 5-2, that's a fly to left. There is no ballpark effect for a home run check, so it's simply a fly to left. Put away out there by Ackley. 2 up and 2 down, and that's going to bring up the top of the order for Jose Altuve. And his first time up, Altuve grounded to first base unassisted. 1-8 against the lefty, and that's a walk. So it's a 2-out walk issued to Jose Altuve. So Altuve draws the 2-out walk, and we'll see if he is looking to run. Altuve is a double-A stealer, so you would certainly think he's looking to run. And let's check his factors. As a double-A stealer, he starts as a 17. Being held makes him a 15. And then the catcher arm, in this case, Nino's a -1's a 14. So 1 to 14, that's good odds and good enough odds for the Astros. They will try it. They will send Altuve. 1 to 14, he makes it. And he does, just right on the number, barely, but he does. So Altuve steals second base, gets himself into scoring position with 2 outs, which is huge. Now a base hit will score him. And it's Gonzalez, the batter, who hit that home run his first time up. Altuve is being held on second because of his speed. That's a 4-6. Switch hitter batting right. 4-6 is a walk. So they're going to walk Gonzalez. It wasn't intentional, but it might not have been a bad idea considering what Gonzalez did last time. So I'm going to put runners at first and second with 2 down for George Springer. Springer, his first time up, flew to right. But Paxton in some difficulties here. 2 on, 2 outs, bottom of the third. In a 1-0 Astro lead. That's a 3-10 for Springer. Ground ball shortstop, but it's a plus there. They were holding Altuve, so that's going to be a single 2 stars. When you hold the runner, that's the price you pay. When you hit those pluses, that 3-10 did it. So it's a single 2 stars. That will score Altuve, and Gonzalez will move to third. Astros now lead it 2-0 on the base hit by George Springer. As they were holding on Gonzalez, and it cost them in that situation, but almost had no choice. I mean, you don't want to give a guy a free base. Just got bad break on the roll, that's all. I mean, you can't help that. It happens, it happens. All right, so Valbuena is there to bat. Springer's an A stealer, so they got to hold him on again. Question is, would he try to run? A stealer starts at the 50. It'd be a 1 to 12, basically. What do you do with Valbuena? They're going to send Springer. They're going to see if Springer can get in scoring position with 2 outs. 1 to 12, he makes it. And he got caught stealing. So that time they got greedy, and it cost them. But they figured they were playing with house money because they were already ahead. So the Astros pick up a run here in the bottom of the third to take a 2-0 lead. And now it's up to Seattle to try to get going again. So Valbuena will lead off the bottom of the fourth. He was at bat when the caught stealing occurred. And that brings up Dallas Keuchel, who's now got a 2-0 lead to protect. And he's going to start out facing the heart of the order. Robinson Cano, hitters 3, 4, and 5 for the Mariners. Cano grounded to second his first chance. It's a 1-8, and he will ground back to Keuchel this time. 1 away. Easy play for Keuchel. And that brings up Nelson Cruz. And Cruz, his first time up, struck out. 2-4 against the lefty. He's going to ground it to first. It's a C, so we'll call it a 3-1 ground out. As Carter fields it and flips to Keuchel coming over to cover. 2 up and 2 down for Kyle Seager. Seager, his first chance, grounded back to Keuchel. 3-7 against the lefty. That's a ground. He has some singles here, but that's a ground ball to short. Gonzalez is there, and the inning is over. So that's going to do it for the Mariners in the fourth. Nothing happening. 3 ground balls. Pretty routine. Go to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 Stros. And Paxton back out, and he will be facing Valbuena, who was at the plate when Springer was thrown out trying to steal. Valbuena's first time up, grounded to first. That's a 3-4, and it's a pop out to short. So he pops it up to Miller for out number 1. And that brings up DH Evan Gattis. Gattis, his first time up, grounded to short. That's a 2-6 against the lefty, and that's a single to left field for Evan Gattis. So a 1-out single for Gattis. He is no threat to run at all, so he will not be held, and he certainly won't try to go anywhere. But he is at first base. So he's on base with that single. And that brings up Colby Rasmus, the left fielder. 1-7, and that's a strikeout. So Rasmus out on strikes. He continues to struggle. 2 down for first baseman Chris Carter. 3-7 for Carter. That's a walk. So a 2-out walk issued to Carter puts runners at first and second. And again, Paxton in some trouble with some base runners. So we have Carter at first and Gattis at second. 2 outs, and that brings up the dangerous Hank Conger. Dangerous because he's hitting .440 on the season. That's what makes him dangerous. He's not normally considered to be dangerous, but he is in this one. Gattis not being held at second. 4-4 against a right-hander. That's a ground ball shortstop X. That is Miller, and Miller is a 3. 3 and a 15 should be good enough, but I will verify it. 3 and a 15 for a shortstop. A 3 and a 15. Ground ball B, good enough. So we'll say he goes a short way for the fielder's choice to end the inning. So the inning is over. Astros come away empty-handed here in the 4th inning, but they do hold a 2-0 lead. So you can't consider them empty-handed, but so much. So Dallas Keuchel back out. His fatigue is a 7, so he's good to go for sure. And Marisnick will lead off next inning for the Stros. All right, so Logan Morrison, the first batter, he actually singled. He got the first hit of the game for the Mariners, his first time up. 5-2, and this time he's going to ground it to Altuve. Easy 4-3 put out, rather. 1 down, and that brings up shortstop Brad Miller. He also singled. 4-11, and a 4-11 is a fly ball left field X. Left fielder Colby Rasmus is a 3. And a 10, that's going to go to its error rating. 3 and a 10 will definitely go to an error rating. The error rating on Rasmus is an E7. E7 and a 4 for a left fielder. E7 and a 4 is a 2-base error. 2-base error on Colby Rasmus. So Rasmus had some issues, and Brad Miller will motor into second base on the 2-base error. Keuchel not too happy about that. Now you have the very weak-hitting Mike Zunino stepping to the plate. Miller at second base. Runs well, so he will be held on. 2-7. Struck him out. Didn't matter. Zunino still struggling big time. Strikes out for out number 2, and it's up to Ackley. Dustin Ackley. Ackley flew to right his first chance. 4-6, and he struck him out. So Keuchel pitches around the 2-base error on Rasmus and picks up his teammate and keeps the Mariners off the board. So nothing happening there for the Mariners here in the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th, still 2-0 Houston. This is the fatigue inning for Paxton, so we'll keep an eye on that. See, make sure he doesn't run to past his fatigue numbers. Marisnick will lead it off, and Marisnick flew to left his first chance. That's a 2-10, and that's a strikeout. Just missed a chance for an injury on 211, but 210 is a straight strikeout with no injury factor. So there's one away. Flip the order over to Altuve. Altuve is grounded to first and walked and stolen base and scored in the third. 210, and that's would be a ballpark check in super advanced, but in advanced it's just a pop out to short for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Marwin Gonzalez, the shortstop. Gonzalez homered and walked. 6-5, and this time he strikes out. There's a dot there, but he's not tired, so the strikeout will stand. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Paxton, and he will most likely come back and pitch into the 6th, so we shall see how it plays out. But for right now, we go to the 6th. Still 2-0 Astros. And the top of the order for the Mariners, it'll be Austin Jackson. Jackson's flew to left in the first and grounded to Keuchel in the third, 0 for 2. That's a 6-6, and that's a straight-out single to right field for Austin Jackson. That's what the Mariners needed. They needed the leadoff guy to get on, and Austin Jackson has just done that. He's a B stealer, so he will have to be held. He might even try to run on that +4 Hank Conger. They haven't really taken advantage of that yet. So you wonder if they might explore that opportunity, even though they're down by 2 runs, but they got to spark the offense somehow. Jackson's a B stealer, as we see on his card. He is a B stealer. So that starts him as a 13. Being held makes him an 11. But then the +4 arm from Conger is a 15. So 1 to 15, you got to take that chance, I think. I think it's definitely worth the gamble. 1 to 15. At 14, he makes it. So it's the arm of Conger that helped him. If Conger had not had such a bad arm, he wouldn't have made it, but he did. So Austin Jackson, stolen base. Stolen base for Mr. Jackson. That also eliminates the chance of a double play. At least the traditional ground out double play. And now Seth Smith is up. He is flown to right in the first and struck out in the third. Jackson will be held at second. 6-11 for Keuchel against the lefty. Ground ball first base B, and again, that's the one mod I do on this advanced thing, is that if balls hit to the right side, even though the advanced chart says the guy doesn't go to third, I send him to third because it just makes sense. Any ball hit to the right side. So Jackson will go to third base. It's a 3 unassisted. 3 unassisted play there by Chris Carter for the first out, but Jackson does take third base. And with a 2-0 lead, they are going to play the infield back, of course. And Robbie Cano, the batter. Cano grounded to second and grounded to the pitcher, 0 for 2. 3-8, and that's a straight out single, 2 stars, so it didn't matter if he went to second to third or not, because the 2 stars are going to score him. So Robbie Cano, an RBI single, puts the Mariners on the board, and they cut into that lead 2-1 as Jackson scores. Now Cano is a D stealer, so he will, even though he's a D stealer, let's see, that +4, boy, that +4 is just so enticing off of Conger. So let's see, Cano is a D stealer, starts him as a 9, but not being held as a D stealer. You don't lose anything on that, and the +4 to make him a 13. 13, a 1 to 13, but you got the big boys coming up, Nelson Cruz. I don't think you're not going to send Cano. He is not being held, but they're not going to send him because they don't want to take the bat out of Nelson Cruz's hand. So Cruz will step up. A 2-1 game with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Infield double play depth. It's a 6-8 against a righty. That's a fly to center. That's out number 2 as Marisnik puts it away. 2 down. And that's going to send up Kyle Seager, third baseman. Seager grounded to Keuchel in the second and grounded to Gonzalez at short in the 4th. That's a 3-2 against a lefty, and that is a single to right field. Single to right field. We'll see if Cano can get to third or not. There are 2 outs. Cano runs at a 13. He was not being held. Makes him a 14. 2 outs makes it a 16. Right fielder Arm Springer is a -2, though. Makes it a 14. Do you send him to third and take the chance of making the last out at third? I think you're going to hold him there because he's already in scoring position. So Seager, the single, puts runners at first and second with 2 outs for Logan Morrison. It's going to require a Morrison hit anyway, and you don't want to get him thrown out at third base on a high D20 roll. So that's going to put runners at first and second. 2 down for Logan Morrison. Keuchel in a little bit of trouble trying to protect a 2-1 lead. Morrison is 2 times up, has singled in the second and grounded to second in the 5th. 2-8, and he flies to left to end the inning, so it didn't matter whether you sent him or not. But the Mariners do break on the board and cutting that lead, cuts it to 2-1. It's a 2-1 ball game. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. And like I said, Paxton will come back out. He's only had 1 knock against his point of weakness. But the bullpen is loosening. They do have right-hander Carson Smith loosening in the pen. Carson Smith, the right-hander, is loosening for Seattle just in case. And it'll be George Springer to lead things off against Paxton, followed by Valbuena and Gaddis. 2-1 Astros, bottom of the 6th. 1-4, and that's a leadoff walk, so that's another ding against the point of weakness. Springer draws the 1 out, or the leadoff walk rather. And that'll bring up Valbuena. This might be the last batter for Paxton with righty Gaddis coming up. Carson Smith looks like he's just about ready to enter this game. So here's Valbuena. Springer definitely going to be held on as an A stealer. Question is, does he try to run? -1 arm from Zunino. So the calculations would be a 1-12. So I think they're going to hold him there. Hold him on, but not send him. So if we get a plus thing, that's going to be a single through the infield. That's a 2-6. 2-6 is a ground ball pitcher A. That's a 1-6-3 double play, just what the doctor ordered. So maybe they're kicking themselves, the Astros, for not sending him. That 1-6-3 kind of put the kibosh on everything, and now we're going to see if Gaddis or Paxton can finish the inning since there's 2 outs and the bases are clear. So Paxton will get a chance to try to finish the inning. 1-9, and he does. Ground ball to second. Cano is there, and the inning's over. So Paxton makes it through 6. That's going to do it for Paxton, but he goes 6 innings and only gives up 2 runs, so definitely a quality start. Unfortunately for him, though, he is on the hook for the loss if the Mariners do not come back. So top of the 7th we go. And Keuchel, this is his point of weakness inning, no doubt. And he'll be facing Miller, Zunino, and Ackley. Might get a pinch hitter for Zunino. Now the rested guys, Bloomquist and Correa, are now available to be used. So we could see some pinch hitting going on here. We could see Bloomquist pinch hit for Zunino and then have Sucre catch. We'll see what happens because Zunino is such a bad hitter. Or at least he is in the replay. He's a 174 hitter, but he had 350 at-bats, so Seattle kept putting him out there. So to be realistic, I guess I should keep him out there. All right, here's Miller against Keuchel, lefty on lefty. That's a 6-8. It's a ground ball to first, and Carter puts it away unassisted. 1 down. And that'll bring up Zunino. With the bases clear, they're going to go and let Zunino swing away. Zunino's average now is 0.29 in 35 at-bats. But it's off the pitcher card. 5-3. It's a single. So how about that? Zunino gets himself a single off the pitcher card. So even if you're struggling as a hitter in Strat-O-Matic, if you can get the result off the pitcher card, you might have a chance. And that's exactly what Zunino did. He gets the 1-out single. And that brings up Dustin Ackley. Of course, Zunino will not be held. But here is Ackley now. Ackley flew to right in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th. That's a 5-3 lefty on lefty, and that's a single to left field. Zunino will stop at 2nd, but now the Astro bullpen is going to get moving because all of a sudden, Seattle's getting some hits. And the top of the order is coming up. So the bottom two guys lead off with base hits. Puts runners at first and second with nobody out. And now the Astro bullpen, Pat Neshek, the righty, is loosening as quickly as he can for Keuchel. As Keuchel seems to have perhaps lost it, but we'll see. Jackson, the batter, nobody out. I'm sorry, there's one out. You would think about bunting with nobody out, but with one out, obviously you're not going to bunt. So Austin Jackson is up. Flew to left in the first, grounded to first in the, or grounded to Keuchel in the third, rather. Singled, stole a base, and scored in the sixth. That's a 6-6, and that's a single to right field. So that's going to load the bases because Zunino does not run well. You're not going to risk anything there. And now, Keuchel giving up the three base runners here this inning is now fatigued. He is now fatigued, but you do have a lefty coming up in Seth. Actually, a couple lefties coming up in Seth Smith and Cano. So actually, they have left-hander Tony Sipp also loosening in the bullpen. How do they want to play this? They're going to let Keuchel pitch to Seth Smith, I believe, as Keuchel has just reached the fatigue point. But they're going to take a chance that he can get Seth Smith out. He's retired him 3 times in a row. So infield is playing for the double play. Nobody's being held on. It's a 4-11, and that's a fly ball left field X. That's Rasmus, who's a 3. 3 and a 10 is going to go to his error check once again. Now, he committed a 2-base error the last time we went to his error check. He is an E7, and that's a 4. I think that's what we rolled last time. E7 and a 4 is another, I'm sorry, looking at first base. E7 and a 4 is another 2-base error. That's the same thing he had last time. I think it's the exact same roll. It's a 2-base error. And that's going to be it for Keuchel. He is done, but that one wasn't his fault. That was the fault of Colby Rasmus. As another 2-base error, his second E7 of the game. This one, a 2-base error, is going to allow 2 runs to score. And the Mariners now take a 3-2 lead with runners at second and third and only 1 out. And Robbie Cano, the batter. And that's going to be it for Keuchel. Although he deserved a better fate if he had better defense. Robbie Cano is your batter. And so with the lefty up there, they're not going to bring in Neshek. They're going to bring in the lefty, Tony Sipp. Sipp on the replay, 3-4, on the season, 3-4, 1.99 ERA. But supposedly a lefty specialist. That's what he's there for. And let's see, let's get Seth Smith, because he is on second base from the 2-base error. So runners are at second and third with 1 out. Infield's going to have to come in. They don't really have much of a choice in this situation. Infield will be in. The other alternative you could do, if I don't want to bring Sipp in, then I could walk Cano intentionally and bring in Neshek to face Cruz, but that would be a tough, either way you go, that's a tough proposition. So I think they're going to just let Sipp, they're going to hand it off to Sipp, see what he can do. Keuchel's going to go 6 1/3 innings. Can't close the book on him though because the inning's still going. He's responsible for both those runners. All right, so infield is in. Cano against Tony Sipp. That's a 4-7, and he struck him out. Big strikeout for Tony Sipp. That's what he was in there for, was to get that strikeout, and he immediately will come out of the game. Tony Sipp did his job. He came in and got the strikeout, and now they're going to bring in Neshek to try to pitch to Nelson Cruz. Or, you know what? We're not going to do that. We're going to leave Tony Sipp out there. They're going to intentionally walk Nelson Cruz. They don't want to face him with runners in scoring position. They will walk him intentionally and pitch to the lefty Seager with the bases loaded. That's what they're going to do. So Sipp will be in, and he will give up the intentional walk. to load the bases for Kyle Seager with 2 outs. 3-2 Seattle leads. Sip trying to prevent it from getting any bigger. That's a 5-7 lefty on lefty. Oh, bad news. That is a double to center field. That's the one spot in column 5 he didn't want to hit, and he hit it. It's a double to center field. That's going to be 2 runs coming in. We'll check Cruz. I don't think he's going to. He runs at an 11 with 2 outs, make him a 13. Not being held makes him a 14. Center fielder arm, though, Marisnik is a -2. So they're going to hold Cruz at third base. But Seager with a 2-run double, and the Mariners have blown this thing wide open against Tony Sip. So that would look like was going to be good strategy, seems to have backfired. 4 runs are in the inning for Seattle. They lead it 5-2 just that quickly. 5-2 ball game. And A.J. Hinch is beside himself. Here's Logan Morrison, the batter. Still a lefty out there, so they're going to leave Sip out there to face Morrison. Trying to play the percentages. That's a 3-11, but that's a base hit for Morrison off the lefty. That's a base hit to left field. That will score Cruz. And we'll check Seager. Seager runs as a 13. He was not being held as a trail runner, makes him a 14. Their 2 outs makes him a 16. And it goes to left field, so the arm of Rasmus is a -1, be a 15. So 1-15, Seager will make it. And he does. So it's a 2-run single off of Tony Sip. And Sip was not the answer. He got the first strikeout, but after maybe that one batter should have been all he did, but with the other lefties, they were trying to play the percentages, and Mr. Nishak is saying, see, you should have brought me in, you dummy. So a 2-run single. And in this inning now, that's 7 runs for the Mariners. They now lead it 8-2. And, I'm sorry, 7-2. That's 6 runs in. My bad. 6 runs in. 6 runs are in. Although I thought it was 7. What did I mess up here? Thought there were 7 runs in. I'm going to check this because the computer is saying 7 runs. My score sheet is saying 6 runs. So I got to see if I'm going to check my play-by-play and see what I messed up. If I messed up entering something, maybe I didn't enter something correctly. So let's go through the 7th inning. Let's see. Ground out by Miller, single by Zunino, single by Ackley. Single by Jackson, 2-base error there, strikeout, intentional walk, double, and a single. So that should be 7 runs. That's really weird. 1, 2. Check how many homes we got here. 1, 2. 3, 4, 5. They only show 6. That's really, really strange. But that shouldn't be the case. I'm going to pause the video and see if I can figure out what in the world is going on with this. Okay, I got a little confused. I'm not really sure what happened. On my score sheet, I had given Brad Miller a single, but when I looked down originally, Logan Morrison had just gotten hit, so Miller had not even come to bat yet. So I may have gotten, I don't know what happened there, but the computer, I guess, is correct because I didn't register an at bat for Miller as of yet. He's at the plate now, according to the computer, so I think I screwed something up. So I do believe 6 is correct for the runs scored for Seattle this inning so far. Of course, there's 2 outs, so they still got a chance to score more. Sip is tired, but he's the lefty, so against Miller, I don't think you want to bring in a righty to face Miller. I think you're going to let Sip go for it and hope he doesn't hit a fatigue roll. 4-8, and he doesn't. It's a fly to center to end the inning. So hopefully that was correct. I don't know how I got so screwed up on that, but it happens, I suppose. But either way you go, man, believe it or not, Paxton can actually win the game now because he pitched the 6th inning. So he's definitely good to go. And Houston just doesn't know what happened to them. 6 runs here in the top of the 7th by the Mariners, and all of a sudden they have a commanding 7-2 lead, or at least what seems to be a commanding 7-2 lead. For the Astros coming up in the bottom of the 7th, they have Rasmus, Carter, and Conger. So it almost doesn't matter who you bring in if you're Seattle. I think they're going to go to Mr. Lowe. I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. That's the guy I was... Mr. Smith doesn't come to Washington, but he does come to Houston. So, but before he comes out, we are at the 7th inning stretch. So I'm going to take a stretch break as we hit the the bottom of the 7th with the scores: Seattle 7, Houston 2. Stretch and sing along at the 7th inning stretch. All right, so now we're ready for the bottom of the 7th, and hopefully I got a feeling I screwed that thing up, but hopefully it's not going to be important in the result of the game. So Mr. Smith is out of there, and Neshek will be coming in to pitch for the Astros in the top of the 8th. Although he's not going to be in a high leverage situation the way he thought he was going to be. So Carson Smith is on for the Mariners. So I need to make that change in the computer and get you the numbers on Carson Smith, as well as the final totals on the pitcher Paxton for his first start of the season. So let's begin with that. Go to the box score and see what the totals were on Paxton and on Keuchel. So Paxton went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs. They were earned, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, and of course the home run to Gonzalez. But he stands to be the winner. Keuchel stands to be the loser. You know what? I forgot to put in SIP, so I need to go back and do that. I may do that after the fact, but I do need to go back and put SIP in, because on the computer I didn't put SIP in, and Keuchel's being charged with all these runs, so I need to fix that, which I will do, and I can do later. All right, so Carson Smith on the replay is 1-0 with an ERA of 0. 7 innings pitched, only 1 hit allowed, 2 walks and 10 strikeouts. He's been immense. So he will be in to face Colby Rasmus to start the 7th. And like I said, Paxton definitely qualifying for the win, assuming his team doesn't blow it. Here's Rasmus. That's I don't know if that showed up on camera. That's a 4-9 against a lefty. That's a ground ball shortstop X. That is Brad Miller. And Miller is a 3. 3 and a 5. See if he can get to that. For a shortstop, a 3 and a 5. It's a ground ball C. That's good enough. He was just able to get to it, but that's all that matters. And Seattle did bat around, of course, last inning, so that kind of screwed up my score sheet as well. Had to move some things around. But Rasmus is out of there, and here's Chris Carter. 4-3, and that is a fly ball to right field X. That is Seth Smith. He is a 4. So not very good in right field. 4 and a 2, that's definitely going to drop. Is it a single or a double is the question. 4 and a 2 is a double. So that'll be a double for Chris Carter, as Seth Smith unable to get to that. 1 out double for Chris Carter. And that'll send up Hank Conger. Of course, Carter not being held on. So 4-7, switch hitter batting left. 4-7's a fly ball to center. That's out number 2. 2 down, and that brings up Marisnick. Now the question is, do you pinch hit for Marisnick and try to get some offense going? That's certainly a possibility. Marisnick on the replay is only hitting a .182, so they're going to pull Marisnick and opt for a pinch hitter. And the pinch hitter is going to be Preston Tucker, a lefty. So Preston Tucker will be called into service as a pinch hitter. And then Springer will move to center field, and Tucker will take over in right field in the 8th inning. But right now they need offense, so they're going to Preston Tucker, who they hope will give them offense. On the replay, Tucker is hitting .294 in 34 at-bats, 3 homers and 5 driven in. So Tucker will pinch hit and stay in the game to play right field, and they will move Springer from right field to center field. Smith to Tucker, 5-9. Struck him out, so boy, Tucker didn't catch a break there, and that will end the inning. So Tucker, the Astros were hoping he would be the answer, and he was not. Struck him out to end the inning. We go to the 8th. It is still Seattle now comfortably in front, 7-2. And we will get a new pitcher for the Astros. And we also need to do some maneuvering in the outfield. So Marisnik was gone, and that means that Springer will take over in center field, and Tucker will take over in right field. And the new pitcher will be Pat Neshek. Neshek is on. Neshek is on. So let's see how we play this here. Get the numbers for Neshek for you. So Neshek on the replay is 0-0 with a 1.50 ERA, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. So Neshek is the man that the Astros are turning to. More of a mop-up duty for Mr. Neshek, which I don't think he likes getting the mop-up call, but he's going to get it anyway. So Neshek is on to pitch the top of the 8th. And Sip would like to have it as an outing he'd like to forget about for sure. Carson Smith's more of a 1-inning guy. Don't know if he would pitch. He could pitch into the 8th. We'll see. He certainly did well. I mean, he only faced 4 batters, gave up 1 hit, so he could certainly come back and give him 2 innings of work. We shall see. Right now, it is Zunino, and with a 7-2 lead, they're not worried about pinch hitting for Zunino. They want him in there for his defense, so they will allow him to swing away against Neshek. I got to get the injury check on Neshek. With that 6 up there, that's a possibility that he could be injured. His injury check for Pat Neshek is a 1, so it's a 6-11 for Neshek, so he's okay. Neshek, 6-9 against the righty Zunino. Look at this. Bad news for Neshek. 1-18 is a home run. He does have normal power, so of all things, Zunino can hit a home run. Unless we get a 19 or 20, it'll be a double. It's a 3. It's gone. Mike Zunino, his first home run of the season. Mike Zunino greets the new pitcher, Pat Neshek, with a home run. And just like that, it is now 8-2 in favor of Seattle. And Neshek probably wishes he didn't even come to the ballpark today. Here's Ackley, 4-7 for Ackley. Neshek against Ackley. 1-7 is a single. Anything else he lines to Altuve. And it's an 8, so Altuve snow cones it and makes the catch to prevent a base hit. That'll bring up Austin Jackson. 4-9 against Neshek. Struck him out. That's out number 2. 2 down, and that will send up Seth Smith. 3-9 for Smith. Smith struck him out, and that's going to end the inning. So that's going to do it there. Might be some defensive changes for Seattle as well. Seth Smith, not a very good right fielder at a 4. So Seattle will look to their bench for some better defenders, I do believe. Let's see who they have. Do they have anybody that's a better outfielder, really? Not a whole lot. He's a little bit better, but not much. Justin Ruggiano will go in and play right field. He is a 3 instead of a 4. So Ruggiano will take over in right field for Seth Smith. It'll be Ruggiano. So Ruggiano is the new right fielder. So we can take him off the bench, and Tucker's been there. So Tucker is the new right fielder. And Springer now is in center. So I think we're caught up on everything when it comes to that. Seth Smith is out of there for the rest of the game. Alrighty. So Jose Altuve will lead things off. So Neshek, actually, to his credit, did well getting those 3 outs in a row after the leadoff homer. He's going to go 1 inning, pitch to 4 batters. And that's going to be it for Neshek. He will be done for the day. Carson Smith is going to come back out, and he'll be facing the top of the order, Altuve, Gonzalez, and Springer, here in the bottom of the 8th in an 8-2 game. So it will be Altuve to lead off against Carson Smith. 5-4, that is a catcher X. Zunino is a 2. 2 and a 9. Let's see if that maybe goes to an error check. 2 and a 9 does go to an error check. Zunino, his error rating is an E2. E2 and an 11. E2 and an 11 for a catcher is going to be a 1-base error. So it will be an error on Zunino. He was in there, they kept him in there for his defense, and he commits the error. Go figure. E2. So Altuve is on, of course, being down 8-2. They're not going to hold him on, and he will take second base on defensive indifference. But he is not going to be held on. And now Marwin Gonzalez, the batter. 3-2 against a right-hander. That's a fly to left, 1 down. And that'll send up George Springer, the new center fielder. 2-3, and that's a fly ball to center. The Super Advance would have a split chance. That's a fly to center. And Altuve's down by so many runs, it's not going to go anywhere. And that'll bring up Valbuena with 2 outs, and Altuve is still stuck at second base. 4-8 against a lefty. Struck him out, and that ends the inning. That's going to do it for Carson Smith. He will be done. But he pitches 2 shutout innings, does Carson Smith. And he gets the job done, keeping the Astros off the board. We go to the 9th. It is still 8-2. And we need a new pitcher for Houston. We got Cano, Cruz, and Seager coming up. I think with the score 8-2, the lefty-righty thing pretty much doesn't matter at this point. They're just going to bring in somebody that... so they're going to bring in, I believe, Josh Fields. Yep, Josh Fields, a righty, is going to come on. So Josh Fields will be the 4th pitcher for the Astros, and we'll get the numbers on Fields. Let's get his numbers for the replay. Fields is 0-1 with a 2.45 ERA and 1 save, 11 innings pitched, 11 runs. I'm sorry, 11 hits rather. 2 walks and 17 strikeouts. If he had 11 runs, he'd be at an ERA of 9, so obviously that was wrong. So Josh Fields is on here to start the top of the 9th against Cano, Cruz, and Seager. Not a enviable position to be in to face those guys. Fields, let's check his injury check just in case we hit something close. Fields is a 2, which is a 6'10". He's got to avoid the 6'10" to avoid injury. 6'7", so he does avoid the injury, but he didn't avoid the injury of the base hit by Robinson Cano. 1-15 is a double. And that's it. What we got right there, Robbie Cano, a leadoff double. And the Mariners have got the bats rolling again with that leadoff double by Cano. And assuming the Mariners holding a win, they'll be 11-8 and drop the Astros to 9-10. Of course, there's 2 more games in the series offline, so Houston does have a chance to come back. But it's not looking good for them right now. Here's Nelson Cruz. 1-9, and that's a strikeout. Boy, he just missed a home run, but 1-9 is a strikeout. Cruz is out. 1 down for Kyle Seager. 2-6 for Seager. That's a single 2 stars. There's a clutch there, but we're not doing clutch because it's only advanced. That's a single 2 stars, so Cano will score. Not that it matters, and this score is getting so out of hand, I don't think they really care at this point. But Seager, an RBI single. And that gives the Mariners now a 9-2 lead. After trailing 2-0 through 5 innings, it's now 9-2 Seattle. And that'll bring up Logan Morrison, the first baseman. 6-5, and that is a strikeout. So 2 down. And that'll send up the shortstop, Brad Miller. 1-9 against a righty, and that's a walk, so Miller will keep the inning going. That's just what Houston did not need, but that's what they get. So the inning continues for Mike Zunino, who just hit that home run his last time up, of all things. That was off of Neshek, though, not off of Fields, so Fields trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. 5-3, and that's a ground ball. Pitcher X. He is a 3-E-0, so we know he can't make an error. It's just a matter, can he get to it? 3-1. Boy, that's just what they didn't need. When you got an E0, you want to go to your error rating, not to your range rating. Pitcher, a 3-1 is a single. 1 star. It's going to load the bases. So Fields couldn't quite get to it. It's going to end up loading the bases, and yet another hit. Yet another hit for him off the pitcher card, I believe it was. And it was. So that's going to load the bases for Dustin Ackley. Bases are loaded for Ackley. But do they bring in a pinch hitter? They might let somebody else hit. They need to get some at-bats to some of their bench guys. So let's look at their bench and see who they might need to give an at-bat to just to get some work in. And they're going to bring in Ricky Weeks to pinch hit. So Ricky Weeks will pinch hit and take over in left field for Ackley, although he's not very good as a 5-E-16, but when you're up 9-2, this is the time to play him. So they're going to bring in Weeks, give him a chance. Give him a chance, see what he can do. Bases loaded, 2 outs. 1-4, and he struck him out. So Weeks strikes out to end the inning. The Astros hold the Mariners down to just 1 run as they leave the bases loaded. And we go to the bottom of the 9th. We'll get a new pitcher for Seattle to finish out the ball game. And let's see who that's going to be. Sure, it'll be a right-hander once again. And it will be Danny Farquhar. So Farquhar, who has the worst numbers on his card compared to everybody else, so this is the guy you want to use when it's 9-2. So Farquhar is on. And he'll be facing Gaddis, Rasmus, and Carter. Correa is still on the bench, but I don't think it really matters at this point when it's 9-2. Might as well stick with who you have. So Gaddis, the batter. 4-9, and that's a ground ball to short, 1 away. That'll bring up Colby Rasmus, who's had 2 fielding errors, 2 two-base errors that have been huge in this game. 1-8 and struck out, so he hasn't done anything in the field at the bat either. He's 0 for 4 at the bat, and he's made 2 errors. 2 two-base errors, and he's 0 for 4 at the plate. I would say Colby not having his best outing by a long shot. Chris Carter, last chance for the Astros. 4-6, and it's a walk. So I'm not going to say there's any kind of magic with that. It's just a walk to keep the game going for 1 more batter, but we're certainly not looking at 9th inning magic when you're down 9-2. But it is a walk, so not a 1-2-3 inning. And that brings up the catcher, Hank Conger. 2-7, and that's going to be another walk. So Conger walks. So all of a sudden Farquhar can't find the strike zone. You would think the umpire would want to get the game over with, but he's kind of squeezing him a little bit. That's going to put 2 on with 2 outs for Preston Tucker. Came into the game for Marisnik. So Preston Tucker is on with 2 on and 2 outs against Farquhar. 3-5, and that's a double, so the Astros are not going quietly, or I say a possible double. 1 to 13 is a double, 14 to 20 is a single. It is a 15, it's actually a single, but it is 2 stars. So that means Carter will score, Conger will take third, and Preston Tucker gets himself an RBI single. So how about that? And now I believe Farquhar is fatigued, but they really don't want to use another pitcher if they can avoid it. They really don't want to go that route. Want to keep their bullpen fresh if at all possible. It's just a 9-3 game with 2 outs. So Jose Altuve, the batter, against Farquhar, who is tired, so he's got to avoid those dots. Tucker, of course, not being held on at first base. 2-5, and that's a line out to short to end the ball game, so they finally get out of it. Farquhar had a rough outing, but he survived, and the ball game is over. It is a 9-3 victory for Seattle. Seattle had 1 error. Houston had those 2 errors by Colby Rasmus, and what looked to be a tight-knit ball game for video turned out to be a disaster, unfortunately. That top of the 7th, just without that, it's a 3-3 game, but you got to include that, so what are you going to do? All right, let's check the line score. See how many hits the Mariners got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I got them unofficially for 14 hits. I got to go back and fix the computer, so I can't get those numbers for that. Paxton, of course, the winner is 1-0. We know that. Knew that going in. He's 1-0. Don't have the record on Keuchel off the top. I think he's now 1-3. I think he was 1-2 going into this game. So 1-3 now for Keuchel. Check the hits for the Astros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only got him for 5 hits. A lot of walks, but I only see him for 5 hits. So unofficially 5 hits. This is unofficial until I put it in the computer, but the official is that Seattle wins the game 9-3. That part's official. They improved to 11-8, and the Astros dropped to 9-10. And that does it for matchup 4, Series 7. The last matchup in Series 7 will be the Philadelphia Phillies traveling to Fenway Park to take on the Boston Red Sox, and that will be the next video. This one I'm recording on Saturday, probably posted on Monday or Tuesday, probably Monday. And then probably either Wednesday or Thursday we'll upload the Boston-Philly game. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you enjoyed that presentation of the 2015 Strat-O-Matic Demolition League. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.